All right, as you can see here, Blake Snell, he has exercised his opt-out in his contract. It was a 2-year contract with the San Francisco Giants, 2 years and 62 mil, obviously, so a $31 million AAV, which is important because now that Blake Snell's a free agent, I know some Padres fans are like, hey, former Padre, he enjoys playing here. I don't see him going back to the Giants. I think he wants to be on a contender. The Padres are a contender. Is there a fit there? Joe Musgrove, they need a replacement for Joe Musgrove. And you can never have enough pitching. So adding an arm that is familiar with the Padres, familiar with Ruben Niebla and Mike Schilt. I know that Schilt was not the manager in 2023, but I assume that Schilt and Snell still know each other a little bit. Snell, obviously, it seems like he's beloved in the clubhouse. Could be a fit when you don't look at the money, right? But why the Padres may not be able to match up with Blake is because this is a business still, and there are going to be other teams, I would think. Now, last year it felt like his best opportunity to cash in was in that offseason because he was coming off of winning the Cy Young. I mean, can't really get better than that. That obviously didn't happen this year. He had, the no-hitter. There were some impressive starts, but it was not like 2023 with the Padres. That was like the lone bright spot. And I feel like some people, to be honest, forget that Blake Snell won the Cy Young last year because it didn't result in anything. Blake Snell didn't land this big 7-year contract. The Padres didn't make the postseason. So it's one of those that may be forgotten from, some casual fans, which it is understandable if I try to put myself in those shoes of more of a casual fan like that. But getting back to the money of this, it would be one thing if the Padres could take away, the $12 million Eric Hosmer would donate, Venmo, AJ Preller, the $12 million back. But no, he's still on the books. His last season on the books is for 2025. It would be cool if the Padres wouldn't have to pay Joe Musgrove's salary, but he's obviously still on the books. That's just how it is. The contracts, they're guaranteed. And so where do the Padres sit? I'm getting conflicting numbers here. I looked on Fangraphs, and it says their 2025 estimated luxury tax payroll is over $243 million. And I looked at what the luxury tax threshold is for next year, this next season, 241 mil. So Fangraphs says that they're projected to already be over, but I'm not so sure I totally believe that because there are some that are going off the books. Not a lot of money though, but still, like if you look at the 2024 number, it was under. It was not like 1 million under either. The 237 luxury tax number, it was further under. So I just wonder how much room do the Padres actually have? I'm looking on Spot Track, and it says their 2025 projected total payroll for the Padres is a little less than 210 million. So that would leave the Padres with, $30+ million to spend. And even if that's the case, let's say they do have that much money, or they want to go over the luxury tax because they wanted to reset it this past season, right? Let's say they want to go over it. Do they still want to give Blake Snell $30 million? Because maybe it's going to be a smaller AAV, but why would he opt out with the Giants after he didn't? It's not like he just won the Cy Young this season. Why would he opt out with the Giants when he'd be getting? It's a player option. It's his decision. He'd be getting $30 million in cash, according to Spot Track, the $31 million AAV. Why would he be opting out? Now, I saw here that the signing bonus was 17 mil, so that's a pretty good chunk. He only made 23 million. That may be if you take away the signing bonus, though, from 2024. So he has that player option. Why would you opt out if you're not planning on getting at least that per year on a longer contract? So Blake Snell, he is going to be going into his age 32 season for 2025. So what is it going to take? Is there a team out there that's going to be willing to give Blake Snell? The Mets, for example, right? Because I feel like they're going to really want to spend and take that next step forward. Some other team that's willing to give Blake Snell a 3 or 4 year deal for $30 million a year or $25 million a year even. are the Padres willing to do that when they've got a potential Michael King extension that maybe they have to worry about, and they have Dylan Cease, obviously Michael King, they have Darvish? Are the Padres' minds like, hey, yeah, of course you want another like ace level pitcher, the upside there with Blake Snell, but is it best for us to go get depth guys? Is it better for us to find a way to make a couple of trades to bring in guys that are cheaper? And then you trust Ruben Niebla, assuming that he's going to be back, because he's a free agent right now. Unless we don't know that he's already committed to the Padres. Padres have not signed him to a contract. World Series is over. He's a free agent. But assuming he's back, Ben Fritz, I think, is not under contract anymore either. Let's say they're back. You trust those guys, obviously. The pitching lab they have. You trust those guys to work well with the incoming pitchers, and you improve the rotation that way instead of spending big on someone like Blake Snell. Roki Sasaki, we don't know officially if he's going to come over from Japan. That would obviously be great, not just talent-wise, but for the payroll, because he'd be on a Shohei Ohtani Angels contract, which is way cheaper than, the $700 million, or let's go to, Yamamoto, where he got $325 with the Dodgers. So for me, I don't think Blake Snell is going to end up being a Padre. I don't think he's going back to the Giants. I wouldn't be surprised, even coming off of last year, that a team gets desperate for a starting pitcher, and maybe they say, hey, let's go be desperate for Blake Snell in this first month, give him a great offer, and then he'll sign with us. They hope that Blake Snell signs with them, and then he can get in there, because I think the Giants, they were setting themselves up. It's the same thing with Jordan Montgomery with the D-backs. They were setting themselves up for a not great season of Blake Snell and a not great season of Jordan Montgomery with the D-backs, because you bring those pitchers in and they did not start the season on time because they were not with the team at the start of spring training. Pitching simulated games, pitching against college guys, or whatever Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery were doing there under the Boris Corp, training or whatever they do. That's not the same as spring training. That's not the same as pitching every fifth day and ramping up and being in there with teammates and coaches and getting to know everybody. It's not the same. So maybe Blake is going to, and or another team is going to be motivated, where the Padres, I feel like maybe they'd be like, hey, maybe we'd be interested in Blake, but let's wait this out and hope that the offers aren't great, and maybe something can happen. I don't see them jumping out early and offering him 25, 30 million a year, 3-4 years, in November here or before the winter meetings. I definitely could be wrong, and they could just blow past the first luxury tax because they reset it. But he's also had a track record of, and Blake Snell, look, would I sign up for him, his nasty strikeout stuff for postseason? Yeah, but he has shown a history of not having the best first half, but then he is amazing in the second half. So there is that a little bit of inconsistency there in terms of like the entire season, if you zoom out. So that probably is on the Padres' minds. And they know Blake Snell the best because they had him for multiple years, right? Giants had him for one, and he wasn't even there the entire season. So I'm going to be interested in seeing, and not just Blake, but are there going to be any Padre reunions? Nick Martinez, I think, is going to be out there. Obviously, Higgy profile. But I'm even thinking back to 2022. I'm thinking about other past Padres that could be out there. Could we see any reunions there? So I wonder where the actual Padres luxury tax number is, how much room, and has ownership, Eric Kutsenda, that group, Sheil Seidler, Eric Grutner, I assume is a part of that, AJ Preller, has that group, that collection decided, yeah, we're willing to go over the first luxury tax. I'm going to be very interested in seeing. And also, I know I'm rambling over here, but like, what trades are they going to make? Or are they just not going to make trades and it's just going to be signings? Are they going to want to go the Martin Perez route? Not him specifically, because if I were him, I would go somewhere else if, I was on the roster and you didn't use me in the NLDS. But that's just who I am, the competitor in me, and just wanting to stick it to someone, right? But do they go that route where they bring, I know Martin Perez was mid-season, but they bring in someone like that can eat innings, and you can see something from them in video, film, work with them on that, and then they can be a quality starter for you the whole year. Are we going to see a reliever become a starter? And who's going to be this year's Michael King, this year's Seth Lugo? A lot of questions, obviously, in this offseason, but Blake Snell exercises his opt-out. So I just wanted to give some thoughts on that. Obviously, the former Padre, and I assume there will be more talk about this in the offseason because of the relationship he has with the Padres organization, how much he loved being in San Diego, the Padres needing starting pitching. There's connections there.